Okay, so we're gonna start off right away. Number one, hood culture. Hood culture, we can spend all day talking about what's wrong with the black community, blah, 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 blah. But I love my people, but I also gotta say a lot of our habits and a lot of our interests, all of that shit goes hands in hand. A lot of our habits, interests, and abilities, and lack thereof, go hand in hand. So, for example, this concept of what's understood don't need to be explained. If you don't know if something is understood, how the fuck can somebody know if it needs to be explained or not? And also, if people get into the mode of hearing that shit and say less, I hate when people say less. No, motherfucker, say more. Say more, because a lot of times you are absolutely, sometimes intentionally, I hate that I just hit the mic. I'm kind of itching right here. Got a little hair on my chest, head ass. No, but seriously, it's all good. Also, Real G's moving silence like lasagna. Also, shout out to Prim's Hood Cinema. And he was making fun of the Chief Keef interview and shit. And he's like, he's got awful. What did he say? He's like, he's got plenty of other interviews where he's just as closed off and awkward. So yeah, a lot of people get into the mode of, and we're gonna talk about protecting yourself and everything. When people get into the mode of thinking like that and moving like that, that's absolutely going to have a significant impact. Excuse me, y'all. That's gonna absolutely have a significant impact on how you move. I don't listen to old heads all the time, but I heard an old head say one thing. He said, and the shit was valid. He said, how you do anything is how you do everything. So yeah. Next, number two, Minnesota culture, i.e. this shit about being passive aggressive. So for example, Minnesota has this thing called Minnesota Nice, where people are passive aggressive. They don't say exactly what they mean. And because of that, people in Minnesota have this general vibe of like not communicating very well, because like I said, when you have habits of communicating a certain way, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're used to like leaving out information or not being direct, yeah, your communication overall is going to suffer because of it. Fuck you. Fuck the whole state. Fuck Teddy Hot Dish. Fuck the Vikings. Go Bears. Anyway, anime, video game, geek, techno culture. So number one, that community, they only communicate when they're comfortable, but they're usually never comfortable because they're socially awkward. Or they're usually only comfortable with other people who have similar issues, and even then sometimes they display the same kind of awkwardness. But in general, that type of environment, especially more so with the techno side of it, people don't put much effort into interactions or interpersonal skills for multiple reasons, one of which is devaluing humanity, like bitch ass Elon Musk. Like I said, that goes more for the tech geek note. Yeah, we gonna call y'all as geek knows. But anyway, a lot of times that community comes across as ungraceful and unsmooth, and it turns people off easily. So a lot of times it's kind of like a chicken or egg thing. It's like sometimes people may be anticipating not having the best interaction with people, so they suffer from the skill even more. Suffer from the lack of the skill even more. Also, it's a very consumptive culture. It consumes your time, your energy, and your emotion. For example, I had a neighbor when I was living in Hyde Park, and y'all can watch my video that says neurodivergent or just a bitch ass nigga. Y'all should definitely, we gonna talk about the whole neurodivergent shit. So this guy, every time I walk past his door, I always hear, I always hear him yelling, because obviously he sucks at video games or he takes the shit too seriously or whatever. But point is, I always hear him fucking yelling, and I'm like, yeah. Every time I see him though, he don't make eye contact, have his head down. I always say what's up. I always try to nod to him. And you feel me, goofy ass boy? So yeah, it's like, I know you have the ability to do that shit. You're just being an asshole. Anyway, the next thing, number 4, drama and horror and doom culture. Whether that's real life drama or reality TV or talk shows, and whether that's real life horror or horror films, or whether that's doom and gloom or doom scrolling, people willfully, just like I was saying with the video game, like it's a consumptive culture. People willfully overwhelm themselves, and then they're too overwhelmed to interact with themselves and others. People also don't know what to expect from others because they try to avoid these interactions to try to avoid drama. And that's because their whole life, that's what they have so many hours and hours and hours of consumption of drama that, like I said, how you do anything is how you do everything. And that lowers their communication skills. Number 5, surveillance and perceived surveillance culture. Some people are paranoid, and some people are watchful for good reason. But ultimately, both, once again, how you do everything is how you do anything is how you do everything. Both cause a reduction in willingness to communicate with others. Also, this causes people to avoid talking to protect themselves from hearing other people's bullshit ass theories. So this is surveillance and perceived surveillance, i.e. theory culture. And I can attest that I've been very wary and weary of people's bullshit tendencies, their willingness to spread hotepery and spirituality or whatever the fuck. And I still, despite all of that, I still value communication, and I still communicate as best as I possibly can. Which brings me to number 6. Wait, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, enablement culture, right? Like I mentioned earlier about the whole neurodivergent shit. Him don't know no better. There's a difference between a disability and an inability. Disability is when you disable something, like when you disable an app on your phone, or if you get into an accident and one of your body parts is disabled, it can't function anymore, or you get into an accident and part of your brain doesn't function the same way anymore. But that's disability. Inability is more like if a motherfucker can't do a pull-up, right? Maybe you have an inability to do that shit, but you practice, maybe you could do a pull-up. You feel me? A lot of people limit themselves because they've been told some shit. And it's like, no, because if you're trying to tell me that you're neurodivergent or whatever the fuck, or I get anxious, so no, not hearing it. No, because once again, if y'all new here, I was in special ed. I have everybody's different or whatever. Cool. But I'm also not trying to fucking hear that shit, because some people are more willing to work on shit than others, and some people give themselves the opportunity to work on shit than others because people have different values, people have different interests, people have different hierarchies of their interests and their values. But you're not going to tell me shit about disability. It's just an inability for most motherfuckers. And then finally, capitalist culture. The culture of trying to perform capitalism and shame other people who are not experiencing capitalism the same way. Listen, this whole idea of money talks and I let my car talk and all of that shit, it's like, nah. None of that talks. Human beings talk, motherfucker. At the end of the day, it's creating emotionally unavailable men, as they say, and vapid women, men and women with no real personalities outside of how well they can perform capitalism. And that causes an issue with communication, because I don't have to talk. I can just, the man doesn't have to talk. The expressions of his winnings in capitalism will talk for him. And a woman doesn't have to talk, because all she's trying to do is gain access to said, capitalistic performance via the way she looks and everything like that, right? So, yeah. The other thing with that is it causes emotionally unavailable parents. Parents got their fucking face in the screen, you know what I'm saying? Always busy. And you can't teach a skill that you don't have. So, yeah, man, that shit is fucked up. Put the phone down, Chicago. Learn how to fucking communicate. Stop tweaking so goddamn bad. I need to actually go. And I'll see y'all later.